Anyway, Sherry sent us a question, Laura. Would you like to read the question and I'll show the map?
Sure. So we got a question from Sherry on YouTube saying, "Hey, Robin and Laura, I was wondering if you could help me figure out a route to take for a trip around the South Island. I'm looking at about 2 to 2.5 weeks, and I'm looking for a route where I won't be doubling back too much. I'll be traveling solo, and I'm not confident long-distance driver, so I can probably do 4 to 5 hours a day. I want to visit Christchurch, Queenstown, Tekapo, Wanaka, Franz Joseph, Dunedin, and Hokitika. I'll be doing a scenic flight to Milford Sound as well from Queenstown. Thank you."
All right, Sherry. So I really love the fact that you did send us a map right here. It's just really awesome, to see that you've done all your homework and you just want to see if we would want to, add a few things or not onto this itinerary. So what we'll be doing on this one, because Laura and I did look at the itinerary and we think it's really awesome kind of itinerary that you have together, is that we'll go through what you have right here and we'll add a few pit stops so like that you can break up the drive a lot. Since you say you're not really a confident driver, I would advise you to only drive maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours at most, and just kind of do something along the way. So we'll tell you what we will do in all those locations, and we'll also tell you a few pit stops along the way. And we'll start in Christchurch, and I think you're going to go from Christchurch. I think it's Christchurch.
Maybe that way.
Yeah. So we're going to go Christchurch, and then straight away you're going to go through the beautiful Southern Alps. So Laura, what would you do in Christchurch when you land over there, just to kind of beat the jet lag?
Yeah, so it depends obviously where you're staying. If you're staying in the city centre, then there's things to do such as the Canterbury Museum, which is free to go into, and it's an easy activity to get a little bit of history and culture about the region. And also there's the lovely botanic gardens right next to the museum, which is really nice to just wander around. They're really huge. There's lots of really cool features to see there. So that's like a relaxing way to sort of just spend I don't know, when you first arrive in Christchurch. But if you are kind of keen to get on the road and maybe do a quick road trip from Christchurch, then nearby is the peninsula of Akaroa, the Banks Peninsula. And over there you can do loads of, it's usually more surrounding wildlife encounters. So if you're interested in doing sort of dolphin swimming or seeing little blue penguin colonies or going out on a wildlife cruise or anything, that's a really good place to do that, because I noticed on your itinerary, I don't think you're going up as far as Kaikoura. So if you were interested in having some sort of marine wildlife experiences, then nearby is Akaroa. So you could definitely do that if you're spending maybe 2 or 3 days in Christchurch.
All right, now Sherry is going to be driving all the way to the Glaciers. So that's the big red line that I just made right here. So that's quite a long drive. What kind of pit stop will you do, Laura?
So that sort of road that's going across the South Island, that's going through Arthur's Pass, which is a really scenic drive and it's really fun to do. But I think it's definitely worth stopping, doing a couple of stops along the way to do some short walks. There's a walk on the way called the Devil's Punch Bowl, which is to a huge waterfall. So that's a good way to sort of break up the drive there. And hopefully on the way, you'll also get to see some kia, which are the world's only alpine parrots, and they're famous for sort of being really curious. And if you have your bag on the floor near them, they come up and try and peck all your bags and stuff, which is kind of cool to watch. And they also try and break the rubber seals from your car. So usually you don't do too much damage, but they try to do damage. But they're really cool. And so that's there's a couple of walks you can do in the Arthur's Pass. So be sure to do your research as well. See which types of walks you want to do and how long you want to spend doing that.
Because there are some really, really short ones. So you just stretch your legs from the drive. And there are some multi-day ones. So obviously you want to pick the short ones to stretch your legs.
Exactly. So once you get across Arthur's Pass and you start traveling down south on the west coast, you are going to come across, Hokitika was on your list, but also the Punakaiki Pancake Rocks. Is that above or below Hokitika?
I think so,
Yeah. So the Punakaiki is a really small village, but it is famous for its pancake rocks, which
it's rough estimate of where it is.
Yeah, which is known for its this limestone formations, which are stacked to look like pancakes, and that's a really short walk to do. I think it's officially 20 minutes, but if you were to sort of walk around fast, it would take you 10 minutes. But you probably want to spend 20 minutes sort of looking at the scenery and stuff like that. It's even a good place to stop overnight if you wanted to, because they have some really nice accommodations over there, things that are quite unique. Another thing you can go and do over there is the Punakaiki Cavern, which is a very small cave to explore just off the highway as well.
Yeah, that's only like let's say 10-minute walk as well, the Punakaiki Cavern. It's really small.
Yeah.
All right, so we are at the Glaciers right now. I'm going to circulate in green. Laura, talk to us a little bit about the Glaciers.
Didn't she say she wanted to go to Hokitika?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that's Hokitika.
That's Hokitika. Sorry, that's Hokitika.
Yeah, so in Hokitika, I'm sure since it's on your list, you already know what you want to do there, but just for a couple of ideas, you can spend the whole day doing greenstone carving. There's a company called Bones and Stones where you spend the whole day sort of designing and carving your own greenstone pendant, which is a really cool activity. And we do have a video on this channel of us doing that. Just for a few quick sightseeing you can do in the area, you can go to Hokitika Beach where they have some amazing driftwood art, and you can see that it's best to see that during the sunset. Hokitika is really famous for its amazing sunsets. Also nearby is the Hokitika Gorge, which is a beautiful scenic area with vibrant blue waters going through this river gorge, and that's a short walk to access, so that's really cool to see as well. And also nearby is the West Coast Treetop Walkway, or Tree Walk, or something like that. But basically it is a walkway that is elevated up in native forest, so you get to see some of New Zealand's native forest in a very different perspective. And again, we have videos on that as well, and on Hokitika Gorge, so you can see us doing all these activities when we've been traveling around New Zealand. So that's basically the best place to sort of have a look and see if that's the sort of activity that would appeal to you. So yeah, that's Hokitika.
Yeah, and Sherry says that yes, she wants to do the greenstone carving in Hokitika because she got the idea from us.
Oh, nice.
Okay, then she's going to go all the way to Wanaka, but she's going to stop at the glacier.
Okay, so
the road to from Hokitika to Wanaka is the green line, and the glacier is about the second green circle.
Yeah, so hopefully the weather is good if you are wanting to do a heli hike on the Franz Josef Glacier or the Fox Glacier. But that's one of the sort of highlights to do in the area, is to take a helicopter and do a sort of walking tour on a glacier with crampons on and all the right gear, and that's a really cool experience. But alternatively, it's one of the, well, in our opinion, one of the most scenic places to do a skydive in New Zealand. But there's other things to do in the area as well. There's a ton of walks. There's the Franz and Josef Glacier hot pools, and there is multiple different walks in the area. Last week we were talking on this live session about some white herons at the Okarito Lagoon. So that's nearby. You can go and see some very rare birds there. There's also Glacier Country Kayaks, so you can go do kayaking on a very reflective lake, which makes you have some amazing photos. So that's all to do in Franz Josef. There's loads of options to do there, and in the nearby Fox Glacier township as well. You can stop by in Fox Glacier to do a walk around Lake Matterson, which is well, to get to the main viewpoint, it takes maybe about an hour on the way there and back, or you can do a whole loop around the lake. So that's another sort of good way to have a pit stop as you're driving down to Wanaka. And this is actually quite a long drive, because then you need to go through Haast Pass. Again, lots of reasons to stop through Haast Pass. There's the blue pools of Haast, which, to be fair, they're very similar to Hokitika Gorge in the type of scenery that it is. So you might want to choose either between Hokitika Gorge and the blue pools of Haast if you're on limited time. Otherwise, there's Thunder Creek Falls in the Haast Pass, and there's Bantail Falls. Lots of different waterfalls that you can see along the way. And then you'll be getting to the area of Wanaka, where you get to do a nice scenic drive along Lake Hawera, and then finally to Lake Wanaka, where I'm sure you've got lots of stuff planned in Wanaka. So yeah, shall I get on to some things you can do in Wanaka as well?
Yeah, go ahead. For Wanaka, I'm going to circle it.
Yeah. So, in Wanaka, it's another place where you can do skydiving. There's brewery tours there. There's obviously the scenery is the main attraction of the area. It's a very scenic town. There's that lonely Wanaka tree you can go take a photo of on the lakefront. There's the very popular Roy's Peak Walk, which is probably one of the most popular sort of hikes in the area. Make sure to get there early because the car park usually gets quite full. But there's also a ton of other walks in the area as well. There's the Mount Iron Walk, which is closer to town and gets you another cool viewpoint as well. So yeah, that's just some quick things to do in Wanaka. But I feel like there's actually some more I wouldn't spend a crazy amount of time in Wanaka, maybe 1 or 2 days. I feel like Wanaka's a really popular place on the itinerary for most people because they see lots of scenic photos from there. But in terms of things to do, I feel like people are often surprised that there's actually more things to do in other areas of New Zealand.
Wanaka should be a one-night stop, in my opinion.
Yes.
So after Wanaka, you're going to be moving all the way to Queenstown.
Yeah. So
that's the blue road, and the blue circle is Queenstown.
Wait.
No, did I do wrong?
Yeah, Queenstown.
Oops, sorry. This is the wrong one.
That's Tekapo.
I know I'm seeing the map the wrong way around, if you guys see. So I do mistakes when I do that. So it's the blue, light blue.
Goes to
with
D.
the light blue.
Yeah. So Queenstown.
Sorry. My bad. This one here.
Obviously, Sherry on her itinerary has said that she's going to be doing a scenic flight from Queenstown to Milford Sound, which is actually a really good idea because otherwise driving or taking the bus is it's a full day. It'll take you about 12 hours to do the whole thing if you're going there and doing a cruise as well. So if you're not really into long distance driving, then basically doing a scenic flight is the perfect way to do it. And obviously the flight over there will be absolutely incredible with the scenery and so that's the perfect way to sort of experience Milford Sound if you are not really into lengthy drives. But also in Queenstown, if you don't already know, it is the adrenaline capital of New Zealand. So you can do bungee jumping, skydiving, whitewater rafting. There's about 5 different jet boat companies. And we have done a ton of activities on this channel in Queenstown. So you can check out loads of different activities that we've done. Zip lining as well. There's the luge, the gondola. A ton of stuff to do in Queenstown. You just have to sort of take your pick. There's something to suit most people. There's also wine tours if you're a bit of a foodie. But yeah, let's just wrap up Queenstown. There's a lot to do there. So you're sure to find something to suit you. Okay, so after Queenstown, we are going up to Lake Tekapo.
Yeah. Lake Tekapo right here. So before Laura gets started, I will say that because you want to go to Dunedin, which is right here, that would be a lot of extra drive just to see Lake Tekapo. So I feel that personally, I would not to drive to Lake Tekapo. I wouldn't do that. I would take a scenic flight. There are some Southern Alps scenic flight available from Queenstown that will actually save you a lot of time, but also save you a lot of money because you have all the gas and then coming back and all that. So I would personally do skip that altogether and just do a scenic flight, and you see it from the air. It looks fantastic. You get to see even much more of that. You get to see the Tasman Glacier as well. You get to see a lot of things. So I may just skip that and go straight to Dunedin and spend more time in Dunedin. I think that adding that much drive just to see Lake Tekapo is just a little too much. That's only my personal opinion. And Laura will tell more when she gave her opinion. But just when looking at the map right now, that's the first thought that I had was I think I would remove Tekapo.
Yeah, and also on your question, you said you don't want to do a lot of backtracking, but right now, obviously, there is a lot of backtracking. If you're going up to Tekapo, then back down to Dunedin, and then back up north. So yeah, it's usually, I think it would be better to sort of do a loop from Wanaka down to Dunedin and then loop your way back up to Christchurch. But yeah, so where are we now? So Lake Tekapo, if you do actually decide to spend some time in Lake Tekapo though, obviously the scenery is the main attraction there. You get to see the Church of the Good Shepherd, which is a big photo spot and usually very, very busy. So yeah, good to get there early before lots of people arrive. But also there's jet boat tours. There's the walk up Mount John. If you're staying overnight, there's the Earth and Sky stargazing tour because they have an observatory there, and Lake Tekapo is part of a dark sky reserve, so you can do some amazing stargazing there.
But to be fair, there is some amazing spots to experience the dark skies in Dunedin. You know, you can just drive a little bit out of the city and have some fantastic evenings there.
Yes.
And there is no observatory, but you still love it.
Yeah,
anyway.
well, you'll even find, even when traveling down the west coast, for example, if you get a clear night and just look up, the stars are amazing. It just doesn't have that area doesn't have the label of being an international dark sky reserve, but it's still pretty much, the stars are usually pretty amazing on the west coast as well. So yeah, Lake Tekapo, that sort of sums Lake Tekapo up. Although it is a huge name as a destination in New Zealand, it's also one of those places that doesn't have a crazy amount of things to do because it is a very small town. But I have given you a couple of things to do in terms of the jet boat and the stargazing tour.
All right, the second road and the circle right here is Dunedin.
Yeah, so Dunedin has plenty of stuff to do in the city itself. It's got amazing architecture. It's got a couple of really cool free museums, the Otago Museum and the Toitu Museum, and I recommend checking both of those out. They don't have the railway anymore, so that's a shame. But I also recommend while you're there to go onto the Otago Peninsula. Now you can travel there independently and, for instance, visit Penguin Place or the Royal Albatross Centre and do a couple of really cool wildlife tours there, just sort of in those areas. But a really cool tour that we found was the Elm Wildlife Tour. I've taken it twice actually because I found it so cool. Where they actually pick you up from wherever you're staying in Dunedin and take you on a trip around the Otago Peninsula to see lots of different areas of wildlife that you probably wouldn't think to go check out yourself. They take you to some wetland areas to see some really cool birds, but they also take you to a private conservation area where they have yellow-eyed penguins, they have blue penguins, they have sea lions, seals. So that's a really good comprehensive tour to see some different areas, basically of the Otago Peninsula and see lots of different wildlife.
Nice. And now we're going to be driving from Dunedin. I'm going to put it in green again. From Dunedin all the way back to Christchurch. Where should we stop along the way, Laura?
Ooh, that is a long, long drive.
Yeah, so we definitely need to break that up.
Yes. So
that's the green... can you point it?
Yeah. So
green drive right here. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would even break up this sort of drive maybe with another overnight stop. So on the way up, Timaru is a quirky town on the east coast and famous also for its blue penguins. Actually, there's a place called Caroline Bay, and on the evening you can watch penguins coming across the beach and going into their nests, which is pretty cool. But yeah,
I'm circling Timaru for you guys.
Yeah. So what else on that side? We have Ashburton, which is famous for the Ashburton Domain. It's a park. I think Timaru is the strongest. I think Timaru is the strongest speed stop. So I mean, to be honest, this side of the or maybe the Moeraki boulders.
Yes.
Moeraki boulders are on there as well. So when you're traveling maybe about an hour north of Dunedin, 1 or 2 hours north, I can't quite remember, there's the Moeraki boulders, which are these famous sort of perfectly spherical boulders on the beach, and they're best seen at low tide. Don't make the same mistake we did, and we just went at any old time and we're like, where are the boulders? And they've kind of been splashing under the waves, but we still got a video of it, so you can go check that out. Also on that side is also Oamaru, which is actually, that's a really cool town to stop in. I definitely would recommend Oamaru. It has Steampunk HQ, which is probably one of the quirkiest sort of attractions, but it's if you know what steampunk is, There's a whole sort of museum dedicated to it and has some really crazy sort of inventions and stuff in there. Also very famous for its blue penguin colonies as well. Yeah, and Oamaru's pretty awesome. So yeah, an alternative, I'll just wrap up quickly with an alternative route you could be taking. So you could be going from Dunedin, and somewhere around here where Oamaru is, you have the Waitaki Valley, which will take you back inland, and yeah, back up to Lake Tekapo, and then from Lake Tekapo, you can make your way to Christchurch from there. Robin will just draw a quick, a very rough looking road.
Right, that's the black section.
Yeah, so that maybe I would just swap some of your destinations around when it comes to Dunedin and Lake Tekapo. So yeah, remember you go from Queenstown down to Dunedin, up to Oamaru, then back inland to Lake Tekapo, and from there to Christchurch.
But again, in my opinion, I will actually skip Lake Tekapo. I will experience the night in Dunedin. Yes, you don't have the observatory, but I think that's okay. And another thing is that when you're going to be in the Franz Joseph Glacier, you will be kind of stuck over there until the weather is good enough for you to be able to do the activity, which is the heli hike, because it's kind of one of the highlights on your trip. But the good thing is that you will be able to kind of do all those other activities that Laura mentioned kind of last minute. They're very used to it. They basically only get fully booked when the weather is bad. So that's absolutely no problem to go book the hot pools or go to the Kiwi house, at last minute. That's absolutely no issue. Anyway, I hope that was useful. I hope that if you're watching this video as a replay and your name is not Sherry, this kind of relaxed 2.5 weeks trip around the South Island is very useful to you guys. If it is, make sure to hit the like button. It's always a free way to say thank you for all the hard work, and hit the subscribe button, because YouTube is harassing me to actually get people to subscribe more to the channel, because we just don't say that. We just give good information and we don't tell people what to do. So do that. Anyway, let's go back to the live chat.